Hello, this is One Black Man of One Black Man's View. This morning I was watching Good Morning America, and they did a piece on the protest that was held in New York City yesterday. And you have some counter-protests of those who were in support of the Islamic Community Center that's going to be built, and I hope they do build it, but not only in support of it, but in support of the Constitution. Then you had a protest being led by this woman named Pam Geller. She does an online program, radio program that is, on the same network that I do on Blog Talk Radio. So I've been very familiar with this woman. She's a blogger. And I suspect she is on the Israeli government's payroll. For those who have not heard the news, a recent Senate investigation, well, I don't know how recent it was, but some information or some files was released from the National Archives that showed that the Israeli government spent $35 million to plant pro-Israeli stories in our news media outlets here in the United States. So basically, they paid $35 million to plant propaganda stories. We still do not know the names of all of those news media outlets that took the money. But anyway, this woman is a hater, she's a racist, she's a religious bigot, and she was the one who was leading this protest against what they're calling a mosque, which it is not a mosque, and I think the media keeps calling it a mosque because it generates controversy. Therefore, people, read the articles, look at their news stories or whatnot. It's all propaganda and it's media misinformation. But anyway, they had this guy on, I don't know what his name is, or I don't remember what his name is, but I'll just call him the fat black bastard. Okay, now he blamed President Obama for the religious bigotry and hate that we see in this country. He said that because President Obama has not chosen a church, that this is the reason why we see all of this religious bigotry that's going on towards Muslims in this country or Muslims worldwide, being directed from this country. Let's make no mistake, conservative news outlets or conservative propaganda outlets like Fox News, Rush Limbaugh, and a whole host of others like Michael Savage, they have been engaged in spreading this hatred of Muslims. I think Media Matters documents some of the things they have said going back all the way to 2005. But they have been doing it far longer than that. So for this ignorant black bastard, fat black bastard that is, to blame President Obama because he hasn't chosen a church to attend, look, y'all ran him off from his church that he went to in Chicago by playing sound bites of Reverend Jeremiah Wright, taking his sermons out of context, made it a political issue. And so because he hasn't found a church home that he's comfortable with in Washington, D.C., now all of a sudden he is to blame for all of this hatred towards Muslims. That is just ridiculous. Who's paying this guy? Whose payroll is he on? That is ridiculous. These people will find any excuse to hate. They are the same people who did not want to see black kids going to school with white kids back in the 60s. These are the same people, their grandparents or great-grandparents, who did not want to see blacks, former slaves, voting. These people don't need an excuse to hate, but they will make up one. This is absolutely ridiculous, and we who are part of the grassroots black media, we have to push back against this crap, because it is nothing but crap. It just reminds me, what reason when I was 11 years old living in Detroit and me and a couple of my cousins walked through the wrong neighborhood, which happened to be an all-white neighborhood back in the 70s, what reason did these people have to chase us? This mob have to chase us? We had to run for our lives. We were kids. These were grown people and their kids chasing us. And these are the same people who are following this Israeli propagandist, Pamela Geller of Atlas Shrugs. These people don't need a reason to hate. It is just something that's in their DNA, I guess. What reason did they have to bomb the black churches back in the 60s? okay? And they want to talk about Islam. They want to talk about Muslims. Again, this ignorant fat black bastard wants to blame President Obama because he hasn't chosen a church. Again, this fat black bastard needs to read the Bible, and he will see in the Bible it says, don't be like hypocrites who love to stand and pray on the corners to be seen by men. If President Obama has not found a church, which is a personal decision, then that's his business. If he was not a Christian, that's his business. If he was a Muslim, that's his business. It is time for good Americans to stand up against this Nazi propaganda, because the same thing was said against the Jews during Hitler's Germany. The same propaganda that is being used today against Muslims and against Islam was used against the Jews in Hitler's Germany. And so I just call it as I see it. These people are nothing but American Nazis. This is one black man of one black man's view. Check out the show description or the description for this video, and you can find links to our network.